When you lift heavy weights, you are not building muscle. You are applying intense mechanical tension to your muscle fibers, intentionally creating physical microtrauma. Fee and strength gain occurs exclusively after the physical stress has stopped, primarily while you sleep. Therefore, the physical training is just the trigger. Understanding and actively manipulating this post-workout biological repair response is the true bottleneck for muscle growth. The fitness industry often reduces this complex repair phase to a single metric: your total daily intake of isolated protein. True strength recovery depends on the engineering of a specific physiological environment. Simply hitting a macronutrient quota does not guarantee that repair is occurring at an optimal rate. This diagram illustrates the 3 mandatory biological pathways required to optimize that environment: substrate kinetics, endothelial vasodilation, and endocrine modulation. Activating all 3 pathways simultaneously requires treating whole food matrices as sophisticated biochemical delivery systems. We begin with the raw materials. The primary biological substrate required for tissue repair is amino acids. This graph charts blood serum amino acid concentration over time. Fast-digesting proteins create a rapid spike, halting muscle breakdown immediately. But by hour 3, levels plummet to baseline, leaving the body starved during sleep, forcing it to break down existing muscle for energy. The mechanical solution to this fasting problem is found in specific dairy matrices, like cottage cheese and Greek yogurt, rich in casein protein. Casein possesses a highly unique physical property. When it encounters the highly acidic environment of the stomach, it coagulates into a gel-like clot, creating a natural time-release mechanism. This slow-release matrix maintains elevated serum amino acid levels throughout your entire sleep cycle, providing a continuous, steady supply of fuel exactly when the bulk of your tissue repair occurs. We can also manipulate digestion rates by introducing lipid matrices, or dietary fats, alongside our protein sources. Consider the difference between consuming isolated protein, like pure egg whites, versus a complete lipid protein matrix, like a whole egg. The dietary fats and cholesterol housed inside the egg yolk actively slow down gastric emptying. The stomach physically processes the contents at a reduced speed. The co-ingestion of protein and fat naturally extends the delivery timeline of the amino acids into your bloodstream, preventing a rapid spike and subsequent crash. This fat-delayed delivery explains why clinical studies show that eating whole eggs after a workout triggers double the muscle protein synthesis compared to eating the exact same amount of protein from egg whites alone. Amino acid availability is moot if the vascular network cannot transport them to the target tissue. Raw materials cannot repair tissue if blood flow to the muscle is restricted. Optimal recovery relies on sustained, high-volume nutrient delivery, alongside the rapid clearance of metabolic waste. We can enhance this transport network using specific phytochemicals, notably the high concentration of flavonols found in dark chocolate. This cross-section shows how flavonols stimulate the endothelial cells lining your blood vessels, signaling them to upregulate the production of a compound called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide triggers vasodilation, the literal widening of the blood vessels, drastically reducing flow resistance. By expanding this vascular highway, you artificially enhance oxygen transport and nutrient delivery precisely during the critical acute recovery window. The third pillar of recovery involves the endocrine system, the hormonal signaling infrastructure that regulates tissue repair. To modulate these signals, we look to long-chain omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA, sourced from whole foods like salmon and flax seeds. EPA and DHA physically incorporate into the lipid bilayer of your muscle cell membranes, altering their structural composition and fluidity. This structural alteration increases the cell's anabolic sensitivity, making it highly receptive to absorbing the amino acids currently circulating in your blood. Beyond cellular sensitivity, we have to address systemic hormonal regulation, specifically the primary catabolic stress hormone, cortisol. Cortisol actively promotes rapid muscle tissue breakdown. However, its release can be directly blunted by strategic nutrient interventions, such as those same flavonol compounds found in dark chocolate. On the androgenic side of the equation, the body requires specific structural precursors to synthesize testosterone, the primary driver of muscle density. Dietary cholesterol and saturated fats, the exact compounds found in egg yolks and lean beef, serve as the mandatory raw materials for healthy testosterone production. Correct lipid and fat intake creates a highly favorable endocrine environment. By maximizing testosterone precursors and actively suppressing cortisol, you signal the body to prioritize hypertrophy. Now we can directly compare the standard approach of using isolated fitness supplements against the complex food matrices we have just deconstructed. A scoop of isolated whey powder or a carton of liquid egg whites provides a rapid amino acid spike, but they fail to address prolonged recovery kinetics, hormonal precursors, or vascular health. Contrast this with a whole food like Greek yogurt, which provides a biological ratio of rapid-acting whey and slow-release casein. We see similar complexity in plant-based matrices like lentils and beans, which bind proteins with complex carbohydrates and fiber, sustaining energy and further modulating absorption rates. The physical and chemical structure of a food, its matrix, dictates its actual utility. It alters the bioavailability and physiological impact of its raw macronutrients. Integrating these pathways reveals the mechanical logic of recovery. You require biphasic amino acid kinetics to immediately halt catabolism and sustain overnight muscle protein synthesis. You require endothelial optimization to ensure those specific nutrients are efficiently transported through maximized vasodilation, and you require endocrine modulation to command the entire repair process through lipid-driven hormonal signaling. By selecting complex biological food matrices, you gain direct influence over the physiological mechanisms governing your growth.